I'm gonna be Wilson again. It's like, Heidi ho, neighbor, you know. Make this one with a pair of underwear I have, and then there's a Hello Kitty poking her head out of one of them. It's super silly and super adorable at the same time. Oh, the cat has taken over my spot. Oh, hey, Gabby. Yeah. Hi, honey. Happy Friday, y'all. I hope y'all are doing fan-flippin-tastic. I'm getting better on my transitions. You believe that one? I hope you all are doing fantastic. I hope you've poured a nice big cup of something delicious. I made Oshemi run out and get a fresh bottle, a giant fresh bottle of Kraken. Cause it's been a heck of a week. I don't know about you. Did you make it out alive? Did you survive? I mean, I hope you did. That's why you're here, right? So I poured myself a nice strong drink, and I even went pinkies up fancy bitch and went and got some macarons. They're so yummy. So yeah, it's gonna be a pretty chill evening tonight. I think I'd like to hope. We're gonna just kind of chill, and we have our last interview tonight. I can't believe that this is already the last interview. It doesn't seem possible. But again, we're like almost in the middle of February at this point. Like, holy crap. Like, what the fuck, right? But yeah, our last interview for the Block Quilt Challenge. And I'm going to get right into it because you're like my favorite person in the whole damn wide world. So why in the hell wouldn't I get us started? Hi, Lorie.
Hello, Sandrasa.
How are you, my dear?
Oh, I am so happy that it's Friday, and I'm so happy to be here.
Are you? Are you really happy to be here? I know you're happy it's Friday, because you've probably had a shit of a week as well. And you're joining me, right? I want to see your beverage. I want to see it. Look, there you go. See? So if y'all aren't drinking with us, then, I mean, I respect you not wanting to drink. That's fine. But go get some coffee or something. Like, don't disappoint the penguin, okay? Don't disappoint the penguin. Go get hot cocoa, good hot coffee. I don't care. Don't disappoint the penguin.
Your favorite beverage.
My favorite, yeah, everyone's favorite beverage. Go get it. And then I want to know what your favorite beverage is in the chat, okay? It's called interacting with your community. I don't do that very well. But yeah, I want to know. Let me know in the chat. I know Oshemi picked up some Jack and Coke or whatever. What did you pick up, Oshemi? Because he had a shit of a day too. So he went and got himself something yummy when he picked up the rum. Yep.
Well, I think it's a new supermoon today too. Which, yeah.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Wild.
Are you?
No.
We just... Alright, guys. He got a blackjack cola. Alright. Now, I know not everybody prescribes to this kind of thing. And if it's not for you, that's fine. I respect you. You respect me. We'll all be happy. But Lorie and I very much can be very affected by the moon. Right? And the last full moon, that was like the full moon hangover and just crashed me. Natty baby living the life with pineapple bubble right now. Oh, yeah. She prescribes. They prescribe. I assume that it's a lady. I'm really bad about that. But they prescribe to the moon. Yes, they. Thank you. I'm trying, damn it. To be honest, I'm so bad about that. Like, even with Elaine, I'll call her a he and a she, and I don't know why. It just, my brain. Kinda a lady. Kind of a lady. Okay. Alright. She's kind of a lady like you and I are kind of a lady. We're more like badass bitches. I'm sorry. I'm in a real funky mood. Obviously now I know why. It's all the moon's fault. But the last full moon was like the full moon hangover, and man, did it screw me over hard.
Everybody was exhausted with that moon. 3 days before, 3 days after.
Yeah. It's almost like being on my cycle again, right? Like, I haven't hit menopause, but I haven't had a cycle in over 2 years, so I don't know. COVID didn't help. Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. He has a point. How are you doing?
That was probably right before you got COVID.
It probably was. He's the one. He was Agent Zero bringing it home. How are you doing, my friend?
Good.
You are this week's block for the Sprout Quilt Challenge. Yeah, you are the last block. The one and only. Soul Bloom Quilted Designs. Perfect for a new moon, right?
Isn't it though?
Yeah.
Talk about timing.
We didn't even think or
plan that.
Yeah, no. Just serendipitous. That's our life, isn't it? Like, everything just kind of happens the way it should.
As long as you're paying attention.
That is not me. I do not pay attention. But, so your block is very special. You're covering Y seams. Well, I shouldn't say you're covering, because Chris's block was Y seams last week. But you're kind of, like, taking it to the next step, right? What inspired you to design this block?
Well, part of my niche is going to be sacred geometry.
Okay.
And so I enjoy...
Can you describe what sacred geometry is real quick? Just as an aside, please. Because not many people know what it is.
Well, let's see. In like 20 words or less, it's essentially common shapes that a lot of us see from day to day that have been around for forever, that have very specific meanings and energies attached to them.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. You'll often see them in ancient architecture, like churches, arches, windows.
Yeah, it's like that golden ratio kind of thing, right? It's like...
That's one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of them. Yeah, so far before our time, there was the shapes were made, they were named, energy was associated with them. So yeah.
Okay, so I know I derailed you and I apologize, but not many people know what that is. So like, want to start us off on the right foot. So the sacred geometry inspired balanced harmony. And that's because of the repeating triangles, or what specifically aligns with all that?
So the shape is associated with Merkaba. That's the sacred geometry shape. And what it is it's two tetrahedrons. And so basically pyramids that intersect each other. And then they have an energy that goes around them. And so it's supposed to symbolize the masculine and the feminine energy that come together in balance and in harmony. And so I picked it because when we are looking for growth in our life, often if we aren't in balance, we aren't in alignment, and we aren't in harmony, we aren't seeing the growth that we hope to see, and we get frustrated. And so we really need to get back to that root place, that center place, in order to be able to really grow, accelerate, and evolve.
Fascinating. And you know what I find is interesting as you're describing all of that? One of the key things I noticed when I first saw your block is it the limey orangey color, sage. I don't know what color that is. But it's a reverse Triforce, which is from a video game, from Legend of Zelda. And that Triforce has been such a huge symbol for so many people. And I think that ties it in, right? It's we're used to that pattern, we're used to that energy. And the Triforce symbolized balance, right? Wisdom, strength, and power. And all of those three together was harmony.
Cool. You see it everywhere.
Yeah.
Like if you honestly look at things, like if you look at objects, or you look at paintings, or you look at even just architecture, and you look at it and you see, why am I drawn to this? And often you'll notice if you're drawn to triangles, or if you're drawn to squares, or if you're drawn to circles,
hexagons,
or exactly what's catching your eye. And then you should really look into what those shapes really mean.
What does a hexagon mean?
I can't think of that on the top of my head on a Friday.
Oh, dang it. That's true.
Fine,
we're already a couple drinks in, right?
Yeah, well, Google it. What is it?
That's true. I'm just going to eat my fancy little macaron here.
Yeah, what flavors do you have?
I have white chocolate, dark chocolate, salted caramel, and a raspberry. They are my favorite treat. My favorite sweet.
The hexagon is considered a powerful symbol in sacred geometry due to its perfect symmetry and balance. It's believed to represent the harmony between the material and the spiritual realms.
I am strength.
There you go.
Hexagons play a huge part in my life. So, it doesn't surprise me.
Why? What role do they play in your life?
I mean, they're just one of those kind of repeating shapes that even when I try and get away from it, like for example, I'm teaching a workshop on Tuesday next week.
Okay.
And it's this right here. And it's
nice.
Hexagon with hexagonal thirds that form a bigger hexagon, which can form a bigger hexagon. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of one of those repeating shapes that I find I'm drawn to and I use a lot in my work. Like the first pattern I released last year had hexagons. They were, that geometric against the organic, right?
Well, your what's it called? Your logo has hexagons.
Yep. And the hexagons for my logo, if you guys have noticed, it forms a star inside, right? They're triangles that form the hexagon that have a negative space of a star.
When they intersect. Yeah, it's everywhere. It's absolutely everywhere. If we stop and we slow down and we actually are present in the moment and don't just race by.
But what good is slowing down, right? We've got to get from point A to point B, and Whiskey's here. Hey, Whiskey. Welcome to the stream. I hope you brought your whiskey. Lorie and I have our drinks today. I didn't ask you. I was so rude. What are you drinking tonight?
It is a stout.
Oh.
And what was ice cutter stout?
Ice
You know
cutters.
us up north people.
Yeah, so for people who don't know, Lorie is way up in bumfuck Egypt, Canada, where it is negative 60 on the regular in the winter, and I think she's freaking nuts. Ooh, here's a good question from chat from Natty Baby. They ask, Lorie, what's your favorite sacred shape?
Oh, hi, Nadine.
Oh, so somebody you know. I had a feeling it had to have been somebody. Well,
My
somebody.
favorite? Everybody's somebody. Honestly, I love triangles. I love triangles, which is part of why I love the mountains.
Oh.
Love triangles.
Well, and you have a lot of triangles behind you, too. That form hexagons. Yeah. All I see are hexagons.
Isn't that interesting, though? How we can all look at the same thing and see something different.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I think that's really cool. Natty goes, shh. You ratted them out. Whiskey says they're drinking coffee. It's either they're drinking coffee with chocolate and peanuts, or they have coffee-flavored chocolate with peanuts. I don't know which one it is, because it just says coffee, chocolate, and peanuts. But
maybe
either way.
She's drinking chocolate, or drinking coffee, eating chocolate, and peanuts.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Well, I mean, that is her go-to snack, or peanuts. So.
They don't get your quilt dirty.
Well, and it's a good little protein, right? Like a good little perker.
Yep.
See, she's smart.
Exactly.
I just have to, like, take a deep breath and, like, just let the week go. Yes, you were right, says Whiskey. I don't know if she means I'm right. I'm assuming you're right. So.
It's okay. It doesn't really matter.
No, not really.
No.
So, you are a fantastic quilter, long armor designer, and you've been on this path for designing for a while, but you haven't gotten to the point yet where you've launched full patterns yet. Have you thought about with Balanced Harmony releasing that as a pattern, or what is in your future, my dear?
What's in my future? Lots of things are in my future. First, I need to get my website up and going, and so decide on some services and exactly what I want to bring to the table. I need to get my newsletter going, and I also want to get a blog going.
It's a lot.
It is a lot. It is a lot, but I have a lot of ideas. I don't know if you noticed that in our last
I know that you
meeting.
And Jody have been working like busy bees and got something up your sleeves for summer for our sprouts.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. With regards to quilts, I want to do maybe some smaller projects first, actually. So things to help people enhance their meditation spaces or sacred spaces, or their spaces where they like to be still, quiet, reflective. So work on some of those. Work on some altar cloths, some meditation cushions, those sorts of things. And I'm going to let the quilt kind of come to me organically. I believe that this symbol will play a part in it for sure.
Yeah.
But the rest of the quilt really hasn't presented itself yet to me. Yeah. So we'll let it happen organically. I'm okay with not keeping up with everybody, let's say. It'll come when it comes, and it'll be what it'll be. So
yeah, that's the smart way to go about it, right? I would say it's the mature way to go about it, but like
I am old. It's okay.
Well, no, I didn't mean it like that. I was gonna say neither of us are very mature, for fuck's sake. But you know. But no, I'm excited to see where, because I really do love this block, and I would love to see it as a bigger, piece, you know what I mean? But I'm just selfish. I just want to see all the things and, make all the things. Not that I can make anything, but yeah.
No, it is. It's and the way I came about this block actually was I have an oracle deck, and so it is all of sacred geometry. And so when we were deciding on this challenge, I decided, you know what, I'm going to go to the deck and have them tell me what shape should I bring to the table. So it was this one, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? How am I supposed to make this into a quilt block? I'm like, okay, trust the process. Gotta trust the process. So yeah, it was a steep learning curve. Absolutely. With I thankfully had my husband helping me with some of the tech stuff. But it was a lot. It was a lot. I'm not gonna lie.
That sounds scary, to be honest, to like put your trust in the cards and just kind of take that leap of faith that this is the way it's supposed to be. Let's do it, kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, well, we've been together as a group for, oh gosh, I think it's
Feels
just over
like
a year and a
forever.
half.
Feels
It
like
does.
forever.
It does. And shortly after, I think it was in the fall last year, I started a journey of personal healing and growth, and really wanted to dig a little deeper as to let's peel back the layers of this onion of shit that I've been carrying around for far too many years, and figured out that I really haven't been living my life purpose through this course that I was taking. And so through peeling off those layers, I figured out that no, my course is all about being creative and helping others. And so that's really what the focus of what I want my quilt business to also be, is to help people to um, get to know themselves, fall in love with themselves, heal some of their traumas, help them to move forward, find their purpose through being creative. So using art as a medium. And so, yeah, it was a journey. And when you guys first talked about this, I was like, no, I can't do this. No, not doing this. And I'm like, damn it, I am doing this. And so figured out. So that was an even hard decision too. Was I was like back and forth, yes, no. And I think I sent Jody a message saying, you know what, I'll do anything you need me to do in the background. I'll do whatever I can. I want to support you guys. And I'm like, I want to be a part of this. And I'm like, nope, don't want to be a part of it. I'm like, yes, I do need to be a part of it. So again, trusted and decided to be a part of it. And so happy I did. So happy I did. So yeah, you guys are an amazing group of ladies that
You're part of that amazing group of ladies. Thank you very much.
I know. And you know what? I honestly think that we met and it was very, very intentional.
Yeah.
That we met when we all did. Mm-hmm. And we're all here for a reason and in each other's lives for a reason. It's very obvious, just the way that we all get together, get along, we click.
Oh, it definitely feels like the world was, the stars aligned to get all of us together, honestly.
Absolutely.
Natty asks that it really does feel that way. Asks if you would consider doing it as a wall hanging.
Yep, absolutely. That's another thing I want to make for people's sacred spaces, because not everybody has a large space to just call their own. Yeah. Especially when you have a family and kids and all those sorts of things. And so really having things that are movable, or even just a little corner or something, that you can just even glance over at just as a reminder. So yeah, absolutely. A wall hanging is definitely
in the cards
up here. Yeah, in those two.
Yeah, I'm actually looking. I did a draw today. I've been trying to do a draw every day.
Nice.
Yeah. Pretty much every day I come down to the computer anyway, because that's when I really need to kind of know where I'm at and where I'm going. So, yeah.
And what was your draw today?
Today was the King of Water in upright. I love my cards. They're beautiful.
They are. What deck is that?
This is Gaia. I've got the box right here. Hold on. Do I actually have the important part? Dreams of Gaia.
Ooh.
Yeah. Very elemental.
So what does that card represent?
I couldn't tell you textbook, but I know what it means to me.
Cool. What does it mean to you?
To me, it means strength, confidence. Yep. And it's water. I align very heavily with water.
Well, you're a Scorpio, so.
Yeah.
We're a little fiery.
We are. But I'm a watery fiery, right? I'm not exactly... I can be fiery when I want to be, but I always feel like water is more empathetic and kind of more goes with the flow.
Soft.
Yeah. So.
Nice.
That's kind of
Very
me.
cool. Nice.
Yeah. I've tried to be like learning the textbook of like what things mean, but for me it's like at this point it's like, you know what? As much as I read and like look all this stuff up, like I know what it means to me when I look at it, and that's what it's trying to tell me, so I should just stick with that and go with that.
Exactly.
Yeah. Not many people know that about me, that I do that. It takes a level of comfort to confide that, you know, that part of you, right? Because a lot of people will be like, mumbo jumbo, blasphemy, whatever, like whatever. It's like, it's not hurting you. It's not hurting you. You can just keep going, right? You don't like that I say fuck? You can keep going. I give no fucks tonight. I apologize, but I don't apologize. Like, it's
exactly.
It's gonna be one of those days.
Be unapologetic. Live life unapologetic.
It's so hard for me, though. Do you know that? It's so hard to be not apologetic.
You're always saying sorry.
You're on your second bottle already? Oh my god, Oshemi's going hard. Oh my god. It's gonna be a long night.
It's gonna go to crap.
Oh, it is. It's gonna be, oh, hopefully we don't have any technical difficulties, because otherwise we're screwed. It's the patriarchy. Oh, Natty says it's the patriarchy's fault. You're fine. I appreciate that. Thank you. It's one of those things, you know. Like, I have a group of quiltrepreneurs that I meet with on Mondays for like a body doubling to try and start the week off productive, and we stay muted for like the 2 hours and then we'll talk afterwards. And one of the people, they're much more successful than like all of us combined, right? So it's always interesting when she comes in and like we kind of hear what she has going on and we were kind of I was confiding about, you know, this level of guilt that I have right now with doing everything, right? And you and I have talked about it too. I mean, it's no secret, you know, that running a small business and getting it up and going and sustainable is expensive and time consuming and holy fuck is it draining. Satisfying and fulfilling, no doubt. But there's that level of guilt, right? I feel guilty because I'm not contributing in a traditional way. I feel guilty because I'm not doing enough for my family. I'm feeling guilty because I'm taking money from the household that should be going to, like, things and using it for the business. And, yeah, it was, she had just said, like, that's exactly what all of us are kind of conditioned to feel, right? That's...
Absolutely.
It's one of the hardest things to unlearn, especially the older we get. And then on top of that, like, even when we do business, even though she's a hugely successful business owner, she's talked about how she can't just flat out say, go buy my stuff, right? She has to say, if your local quilt shop has it, go there and buy it. But if they don't, then, you know, you're more than welcome to come to me. Like, she has to, like, be so humble and passive about trying to advertise for herself in her business. And, like, how crummy is that? That we have to be just so humble, and that's like one of the things when we go to conventions, to have a buddy there to help talk you up, because you look like you're full of yourself if you're talking about yourself and how successful you are and all this other stuff. It's all bollocks.
That's patriarchy again.
I know it is, and it fucking drives me up the wall. It really does. I can solve issues drunk, don't worry. Oh, Lord. I'm pretty sure that's what he said, and then I got pregnant. So, you know, we're gonna keep that away for a little while. We don't need that shit again. I already got enough, okay? Time to let your inner Beyonce shine. Like, seriously. 2024 is everyone's year. I don't disagree with you, Natty. I don't disagree. Like, there's some really good energy, and I was telling Whiskey this the other night, that I feel like there is something really good on the horizon, right? But there's something really shitty coming up. Like, do you ever feel that, like, that premonition way, Lorie, about, like, something good is coming, but you gotta deal with the fucking bullshit and, like, get through the rocky hill first? And it's like one of those things where, you know, Whiskey was like, you need to go to, you know, think of abundance and go to sleep thinking of abundance and all. It's like, that's great. But, like, I can just feel it. And I think I said this, like, last week. And then I had this shitty day today. And I'm wondering, is that what the rocky part was? Because I was so angry. Okay. I don't get angry often. Okay? I don't know how many times you actually seen me angry. But I was, like, to the level of angry that I wanted to throw something at the wall and watch it break. That's the level of anger I was at today, right?
Oh boy.
Yeah, this is well deserved.
Oh. But why were you so angry? Where did that anger come from?
I mean, honestly, how honest can I be right now? I'm not far enough in my drink to be super fully honest, but the thing that happened today and I can see whenever I start talking negative, like, the viewership drops. So I try not to get, like, really down or angry about things. Because, like...
It's okay, there's probably only 3 of us on, so it's all good.
Oh, shut the fuck up. Like, you don't talk about the numbers to a streamer. It gets in their head, and our ego is tied to our numbers. So when the number goes down, our ego goes, ah! But no, like... I am leaving you or poopy. Poppy? I don't know what Whiskey's trying to say. I feel like Whiskey put some whiskey in her coffee. Maybe I'm just having a hard time understanding. But, no, it just, there was a situation today. Oh, you're not leaving. She forgot to put the not.
Oh.
That is where everything... So it wasn't me. I'm not drunk enough to not be reading right. No, so there was a situation today where somebody had scheduled a meeting with a big, like, promotional, and didn't want to talk about, like, and wanted to have a meeting, right? So I went to a meeting, and it wasn't really a promo. And I think what really triggers me is it's because I started as an artist before I came into quilting and even before becoming a designer, I was a quilt artist, right? So, like, making commissions and making my art and selling it, that was part of my living, right? And I ain't got no time for the people who are like, make me this, and I'll pay you an exposure kind of thing, right? And that's exactly what this situation was today. But they wanted me to write them something. Because they're starting a blog and all this other stuff, and they want to get it up and going, and they want me to write. And they're like, and you can put whatever links you want, and you can do whatever promotion you want on it. But they're not going to pay. An industry standard, you know, is like $50 to $100 typically. I mean, it'd be different if like someone like you or Whiskey or somebody, like a small business came up to me and was like, hey, let's trade blogs or let's work on a collaboration or do something, work, you know, trade in something. But like when a big business comes to you and they're like, yeah, boo, work for me and I'm not going to pay you for it. I'm going to give you exposure. Like, you can take that and just fucking walk out the door, babe. I'm not here for it.
Look at your first no.
Except for I didn't have the, and this is what also made me upset. I didn't have the audacity. I didn't have the strength to say no to their face.
That's okay. You still said no.
It's a no. Until they actually want to pay me, it's a no. Natty says tonight's new moon theme is all about setting boundaries. So the universe is just aligning and saying, you got this. Just keep going, right? Goddamn universe. Why does it have to be so smart?
You just have to pay attention to it, that's all.
Oh, I don't like paying attention. You know that. I like just being happy and ignorant in my own little corner of the internet. I like my goldfish brain, and I like sitting here and being like, yay!
Well, you should start following Natty Baby. She's the gemstone therapist on Instagram.
Oh, does that mean you have your popcorn? Where's your popcorn? You said you were bringing popcorn tonight. That was an excellent to say no. Yeah, I agree with you, Whiskey. And I will have a smartly worded email if she ever gets back to me to answer the actual questions I had for her, because they don't know what they're doing. They want a blog aimed at a consumer that they don't sell to consumers. They sell to shops. So why are you writing blogs for consumers when you're going to link product and they're going to go to your page and then they can't buy it because they're not a shop?
Well, really, it seems like a backhanded sort of we're going to promote you thing that they said that they were going to do when you signed up with them.
Oh, yeah, well, because they can say
you're the one who's promoting yourself by writing the article.
That's all I've been fucking doing. Well, and that's one of those things where it's like, now they can say that they've offered me promotional opportunities, right? They fulfilled their contract because they've offered, and it's like... And I think what upsets me the most is, like, I want to give people the benefit of a doubt. Like, I am that optimistic pessimist that I know the worst is a possibility and I'm prepared for it, but I really hope that it's a good thing, right? I shoved the popcorn in my mouth under 7 minutes. Holy crap, that's a new world record. I hope she didn't choke. Jesus. Whiskey says, fuck you, pay me, being a smarty pants. Yeah, pretty much. Well, you're kind of going through a similar situation with your daytime profession, right? Where you're having to set boundaries with your time and energy, right?
Absolutely. And that was part of... the course that I'm taking, well, it's just wrapping up here soon, but that's all part of the course that I was taking, where that is all old stuff that I was carrying and things from generational issues and beliefs that weren't even mine as to really what is hard work and what should you do when you go to work. And so yeah, it's setting those boundaries and knowing your worth, but also having time at the end of the day to do what I love to do, which is quilting.
And you've been working so hard, you come home and you don't have time, you don't have the energy. Like, how do you do something that you love when you don't have a capacity to even just get up and do it?
Yep, exactly.
Natty asks, how do y'all protect your designs on the internet these days? Is there ever a fear of bigger company taking the print or idea? That is definitely something I had a fear of when I first started streaming, to be honest with you, Natty. And bigger company, the only company that I would be worried about would be Walmart, because they're notorious for that. I have art friends who've had their designs stolen. Just this past Halloween, they had their designs stolen and thrown on sweaters for Halloween. And it's their
No
art.
way.
Yeah. Artist Abe and somebody else. They had their designs just ripped. Thrown up on, and no, and quilters get that too. Like, oh, what was her name? She has this beautiful snowflake quilt pattern that's like blocks, kind of pixelated almost, but it's like half of the snowflake is the quilt,
yeah.
and it's Walmart just straight up and took it and slapped it onto home decor for Christmas. Yeah, that was a legal battle she had to deal with because it's a copywritten. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. There's stuff like that all the time, and Walmart's the worst.
Well, people probably think they're so big, like no one's gonna mess with us anyways or go after us. So.
Or they can't afford a lawyer to deal with us.
Yep.
Right? It's the same thing with Disney. Right? Disney's got all the money and all the lawyers. That's why I won't even touch, like, I'll do... One of the things that I was worried about when I first started making my own designs is I never wanted to do them on stream because I was always so paranoid about somebody seeing my work and taking it and trying to claim it as their own and write their own stuff and all that kind of stuff. And, I mean, it's still a possibility. That's just kind of the nature of the internet. That's the nature of humans in general. Like,
absolutely.
Even before the internet, people were copying other people and passing it off as their own. It was easier to do back in the day.
But if you never take the risk, then you never know what it's like to have the win, right?
Yeah. Well, and that's just one of those things where, being here on Twitch, there's a lot of gamers over here. How do I compete as a creative content creator? I mean, really, there is no competition. Like, my viewership will always be lower and all this other stuff, and I'm fine with that. I'm over here building a community as small or as large as it wants to be of people who want to be creative and be nerdy and have fun and hang out and, bitch over a good drink. Like, that's what you're getting here, right? And so, I have a whole series of quilts that I've done on stream that I don't release as patterns. Not yet, anyway. Because there's still this weird divide in my work of the nerdy side of me and the whimsical, like the really fun, silly stuff. And then, like, the other side of me that's more the fine artist. I mean, I still have fun with it because, like, look at my pumpkin patch and look at the snowman. There's still more of that caricature that I love to do. But so many of my pieces are more floral and, like, elemental.
But look at where you came from the very first thing that you made and designed to now. How much have you grown? How much have you changed? It's no different than a regular artist where they go through a whole discovery process, right? Because you are not the same person that you were when you made your very first quilt to where you are now. And you're not going to be that same person even 6 months from now or a year from now.
You're not wrong. Are there any laws in effect? Michaels did the same thing with some Etsy sites. I mean, Michaels is notorious. Like that Michaels, what is it called? The maker space or whatever Michaels put up. Like, in their fine print, like, I'll never go over there and make content. Because what's in their fine print of their contracts, if you make any content, if you put up any patterns, any of that, it becomes theirs. They have right to advertise as much as they want, and they don't have to pay you for it. It's just, yeah, it's like, how do they get away with that shit? I gotta ask about the triangle, Lorie. Do the 3 sides represent something itself in sacred geometry?
Well, that's the thing, is that they're supposed to be tetrahedrons, and so that's why you can't get a true 3D image here. And so it is supposed to be masculine and feminine energy, and then those two combined is sort of the third side.
It's a good question.
Who asked that?
That was
Natty baby.
Yeah. She's playing the
She
role
better
of.
be drinking too.
She's playing the
Yeah,
role
she's
of
playing
Purple
me tonight.
Peony Poppy. Always coming in with the good questions and the good takes, man. Like,
well,
you've been
she
so
should have
supportive.
warned me.
Why? It's more fun to catch you off guard.
Yeah, but I bet she's not drinking.
Yeah, that's okay. Let's her be on top of her game. That way she can, like, run you through the races a little bit, right?
Yeah.
She's laughing at us. Being laughed at. So
it's
besides,
all right. When she releases her courses, she knows what'll happen.
Oh, it's gonna be downhill from there. So I gotta ask, you are an amazing long arm quilter, and if you lived closer, I would send quilts to you. But I'm not sending quilts to Canada. Them in the mail. No. So for people who don't know, I had to send my butterfly block for this Sprout Quilt challenge to Lorie, and I forget how much we paid to ship it to you. It was disgusting. But then it was held in purgatory. How much did they want for the damn block? Like, just a piece of fabric.
Yeah, it was like $160.
God, they could fucking get off. Like, wow.
That's because it was a business.
I didn't have your last name.
What kind of friend are you? Don't even know my last name.
What kind of friend am I? I am the kind of friend that only goes by one name usually, and doesn't, like, the only reason why I know most people's last names is because it's in their username on Discord. That is the only reason why I know most people. Sheikah asks, what made you pick those colors for the block? Besides the fact that those were the fabrics, but there were quite a lot of fabrics that were available. So do the fabrics, the colors, have any symbology for you?
You know what? Obviously, the blue and the pink, the masculine, the feminine.
Yeah.
And the other two, and I really wanted sort of that yellowy color as the overall energy that just sort of swirls around.
Well, and the primary colors, right?
Mm-hmm. But when I, because there I think was, I don't even know how many different colors in that fat quarter bundle, like 20 colors I think there was.
Mm-hmm.
I sat there for about, I don't know, 2 hours trying different combinations. And honestly, it wasn't until it felt right. I'm like, nope, these are the ones. And I'd switch them out and I'm like, no. Then this one, no. And I'd have a yes, no pile. And then I'd go with the yeses and put them together. And so it took a long time. It took a long time. But they felt right. They felt aligned. It felt good. Yeah.
Is that something that you carry over into your other projects as well with your color theory? Or, because, like, for me, I love something that pops, that gives me contrast. It's very rare that I will do a muted scene. Like, the seahorse quilt that I just sent to Island Boutiques. Oh my god, it drives me nuts because the seaweed is so, like, muted. Again,
Yeah.
It's really pretty, but the seahorse is popping in beautiful pinks, like, hello, right? So at least I got a little bit of pop going on, but, like, for me, it's all about contrast, all about that pop. What is your overall feeling for color theory?
I think that, obviously, if you go into the science of colors, and there is color theory as to, oh, well, this color means this color means this. I honestly think that colors mean something different to everybody based on experiences that you've had with them, things that have brought you joy, things that have, brought you comfort, things that really make you feel a certain way. And I think over time, when you look at things, it just, it's that sense of comfort, rightness, something that it just is, like, it just feels right. And so when I'm looking at colors, I'll just stand back and, put something else up and I'll look up, nope, not that. And so it's just kind of an intuitive sort of process as to what to me feels right.
And to kind of keep going with that line of questions and thought. What kind of colors are you typically gravitating to? Is this kind of color scheme your jive, or are you looking for more muted tones? Are you looking for brighter gem tones? Like where is your wheelhouse of color?
I'd say definitely mostly gem tones. Definitely I'm not a pastel person. Not when it comes to quilts anyways. Yeah, no, mostly gemstone colors. Yeah, the rich, very
Like
these have
it's
a lot of
soaked in a
depth to them.
pool of rainbow.
Mhm.
I like those kind of
Yeah.
colors.
Yeah. And within that, I mean, I tend to gravitate towards more of the darker blues, darker greens, the golds, those
Okay.
sorts of things, and a little less of pinks. I love purple.
I like purple too, but
Mhm.
I've really noticed that I've kind of like been leaning heavily into pinks, but not like just like the pretty Barbie pink, but like that fuchsia pink, right? Like that
Mhm.
intense pink that it feels more
Yeah.
power, right?
Yeah.
It's like I'm feminine, but I'm strong and I'm here. You can take me
Mhm.
or leave me. Like
Yeah.
that level pink is kind of, and I love how it pops. And you know me, I really kind of gravitate to a lot of Tula pink fabric for the most part because it's pairing a lot of those colors together. You get those lime greens with the pinks and like that deep purple, and it just
Mhm.
like it glows, right? It
Mhm.
radiates.
Mhm.
Yeah. And it always is funny to me when you hear people like there's a certain person that was our teacher for our program who hates
Who
tulip
shall?
pink. Yeah.
Yeah.
She
Remain
hates that kind
nameless.
of fabric. She doesn't understand why people like it so much and all this other. And I'm like I'm not a fan of certain fabrics, but I mean, and I guess this is kind of like me as a whole. Like there's some music I don't like, but like I can
Yep.
understand that there's something for everybody out there, and I don't
Mhm.
hate on something just because like it's not my cup of tea. It's kind of like when I made pineapple pizza, my Love is Love quilt. Pineapple pizza is such a hot meme topic, right? And you immediately know the kind of person somebody is when they just
Yep.
go into a fiery rage about
Yeah.
how
Oh.
dare you put pineapple on a pizza and da da da. Oh my gosh, we were
Mhm.
at my daughter's birthday party and a family friend was there and I had gotten a pineapple pizza because I like pineapple pizza. It's not just a meme,
Mm.
I do enjoy it. And he sat there and he's like, how can you eat that stuff? Like, fruit doesn't belong on a pizza. And I looked at him and without missing a beat, I was so proud of myself because I'm not usually this good with a comeback. I'm like, okay, what about that tomato sauce on your pizza, huh? And
Mhm.
he looked at me and he's like, fair play. And he actually tried the
Mhm.
pizza. So, like, when you can have that kind of banter and somebody's like, okay, all right, I can kind of maybe get it.
Mhm.
You ruined it. It's a. The precious. I did not ruin it. Pineapple is delicious. It's
I
a
have pineapple
violent
on my
argument.
pizza all the time.
Right? I
Mhm.
personally like, and like, there's some people out there who are like, well, pineapple doesn't belong in food and it's just that it's like, have you not had any Asian food? Have you not had any like Pacific like there's like whole
Mhm.
regions where they use fruit and pineapple
Mhm.
and stuff in cuz it's a type of citrus. Like
Yeah.
you use lemons and oranges. Like
Well, I bet they're happy with the pineapple in their pina colada.
I don't know, some people get triggered with pina coladas too cuz it's pineapple and coconut. Some people
Well,
just violently hate coconut and I don't get it.
there you go. There's another meme one for you there. How people hate coconut, which I do not understand because I love coconut.
I love that our chat is now having discussion about pineapple pizza, and I'm watching it, and like Shikamaru says pineapple is the goat of pizza, and Natty's like, is that bad or good, sir? And Oshemi's like, goat equals greatest of all time. So like, Natty's never had a pina colada. Okay, how can you let this travesty continue? She needs a pina colada.
She's she's had a coconut mojito. You can ask her about those.
Do I want to know? I'm Lebanese, so I was thinking literal goat. Don't make me choke on the rum. That does not end well. That would be the big headline. You know, fat streamer dies from choking on rum. Fuck.
Oh my god.
See, the nice
Partner
thing...
too drunk to come and save you.
That would not surprise me. That would not... I mean, it would surprise me, but it wouldn't surprise me.
Oh my god, that's funny.
Yeah.
And even, okay, now we're back to talking about colors.
Okay.
Even with long arm quilting, you have the long arm quilters who like to blend thread.
Yeah.
And then you have the group of long arm quilters who like it as contrast.
Yeah, and I don't know where I sit on that, to be honest. I have such a hard time. And back to our Sprout Quilt Challenge, there was one person, I can't remember their username right now, but they were really going in hard on the thread sketching, and I was like, it was so cool. They were using this very granity, pencil lead gray to thread sketch on every block. They even took Stitch's block and they did like 3 or 4 poppies. And she had asked me, because there was a lot of bunching on it, she was asking me like how to fix that, and I gave her a couple solutions and stuff, because like when I thread sketch on applique, I don't get the bunching because the raw edge applique, that residue on the back keeps it stable and thick, so I don't have to worry about it. So Natty needs more popcorn, and Oshemi needs a new bottle. He's like, damn it, I need a new bottle. Well, you got 2 legs, honey, and if you're not drunk enough to fall down the stairs, I suggest going and getting another one. Okay, I have another word question, Natty says. Sacred geometry is just so cool. Do you find the type of fabric matters when making your design?
I think it does. I think definitely pattern, color, texture, all of that plays into a design for sure. And I mean, this one, you know, we all agreed to use Allison Glass's chrysanthemum. And so would I normally pick a pattern that has flowers? No. I'm not that flowery of a person. I would go with more solids or more textured backgrounds. Love batiks. Hate long arming them, but I love batiks.
Because they're thick. They're tighter weave, right?
Yeah, and it's really hard to get good tension with batiks. You fight with them a lot. So, but I just love the depth, the movement of the patterns and the texture with the dye and everything. It just adds a lot of dimension to really anything.
To be fair, not to be fair, I say that way too often for it to mean actually anything. I worked a lot early in my art quilting with batiks. Because it was one of those things people were like, yeah, if you're doing raw edge, you know, batiks are the tightest weave out of everything. It's not going to unravel on you as much, all this other stuff. It's like, okay, all right. And so I used a lot of batiks. But I felt very heavily out of love with batiks. And my mom was just bitching at me the other day because I left almost all my batiks when I moved from Pennsylvania to Colorado with her. Yeah, I did. Because I had really literally fallen out. And all the batiks had started kind of just washing out and feeling muted. Like, I wasn't feeling like there was enough vibrancy and contrast. They all started feeling the same. And it was like, what's the point? It doesn't matter if I buy Hoffman, Island, whatever. They all feel the same. You can't really tell the difference between any of them anymore. And then the local fabric designer, which I didn't realize was local when I met her at H&H. But I found out she designs batiks, and I started working, and that's what Aquatic Melody is in, is one of those lines. And the level of contrast, like, that was her name of her game for her batiks. She was putting purples and oranges together with these creamy whites and some greens. It felt fresh. It felt new again. It felt good. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and so this, I think, I just sent out Dragon for the lookbook. That's the second line of fabric that I've used for hers. And though there's still some muted, but the fabric line for that one was based off of a winterscape, and the only thing of color typically in winter is like the red berries. So like there's this bright fuchsia red that like pops through all these very grayed out tones, right? It's very foresty, very snowy.
Greens, yeah.
And it's really I love knowing the story behind a fabric. Like she walked through a botanical garden, or she did, like, it makes it feel more real and more connecting for me. And like there's another call for Island, and she's got another line of fabric coming out. And again, and these have some teals, and you know I'm such a sucker for teals.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
And I'm like, oh man, if I don't design something with it, I'm gonna be in trouble.
Yeah.
But it's like re-sparked my love of batik. And it isn't even like I'm like big on all the batiks all of a sudden. It's like hers just speak to me, right? So I'm kind of happy. But honestly, I've been really happy with pairing batiks with printed and solids and getting that extra layer of contrast, right? It just makes everything feel different. Because once everything feels the same, there's no depth.
And I think in applique, that's totally fine.
Yeah.
Your long arm quilter would hate you if you made a large quilt that was.
I'm gonna be making a large quilt. Are you ready to long arm it for me?
Sure, I'll just make sure I stock up on some beer.
Ah, fuck. It'd probably be cheaper for me to fly you out here and rent time on the local machine, to be honest.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably. I would not pass up coming to Colorado. You got mountains there, so.
And beautiful hot springs.
Yeah.
So I am stuffing my face with my macarons. They're so good.
No, it's all good. That's what Fridays are supposed to be for. They're supposed to be for chilling, relaxing, chatting, snacking.
Yeah, I can stress about tomorrow.
Oh, absolutely. You gotta be in the moment.
Natty asks, how did you get into quilting? She's doing the interview for me, okay? She should be sitting here, because, like, I'm not doing anything. I'm useless tonight. How did you get into quilting?
You know, funny you asked that question, because I thought that would come up. And I was trying to really honestly think how it happened. And I am someone who has always loved to be creative. Always doing something, making something, doing something, whether it's cooking or crafting or sewing or whatever the case might be. And I don't come from a long line of quilters. I have not taken classes on quilting, so totally self-taught. I did used to do scrapbooking, and hi, Lane.
Lorie says hi. Hi. Go to bed. We'll talk in the morning. Sorry about that.
And that's okay. And then, you know, making cards and all those sorts of things. And fabric just has a different feel to it. Yeah. And when you touch it, you always talk about fondling fabric. It just has this sense of softness and comfort. And as a kid, I used to carry around a blanket with me always. And it was purple, and it was, you know, hand sewn and everything. And that was my comfort.
Yeah.
Through any sort of scary moment or trauma, whatever, I always had my blanket. And for me, I love to give blankets to people for different reasons, and they all have different meaning. They all have different colors, and so that's why I really kind of got into quilting, was to give other people the same comfort I felt with my quilt that I always had growing up. And I would go into fabric stores, and I just love the colors. I love the fabric, the patterns, just the different designs. It's limitless. It's absolutely limitless.
Natty asks, do you still have that blanket?
No, I do not. No.
Do you know what
No,
happened to that
it's good.
blanket?
Yeah, I gave it away. Yeah. It needed to be. It needed to be. It was a tie to the past that I did not need any longer.
You were able to continue on without that.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so in that regard, the quilt was purple. And so purple in a quilt for me is extremely calming and extremely comforting.
I can see
Even
that.
now. Yep. Which I'm sure if we looked up the color purple, it probably doesn't mean that at all.
No, I do think it probably has a radiance to that because amethyst is purple and it is a relaxing gem, right? So there's something to that.
True.
Amethyst is my gem, right? And whenever I'm really stressed, purple. Natty says purple is crown chakra. But whenever I'm really stressed, I'll pull out my I still have an amethyst crystal that I will pull out and put around my neck. I don't wear it very often because, like with your blanket, there's some past that's connected with that I don't like having around me. So I've done my best, and Oshemi's really helped in getting new amethyst for me that is charged with love and charged with support. Like my ring that he got, that everyone's like, oh, is it a promise? No, it's not a promise ring. It's just a beautiful ring that I can wear, and I feel his energy connected to me, right? I'm really...
I was going to ask you if you got that.
Yeah, I've had it for a little while. I got you a little something for Sunday. You what? Something comes in on Sunday. I told you that. You did tell me you got me something that comes on Sunday, but I didn't... You haven't told me what the fuck it is. I didn't think it was important. Must be important. Valentine's Day is on Wednesday. I want to know. Are you kidding? I could easily find out. I could just... Because he ordered it on Amazon. So I could just whip up my email because it's the one that's attached. And I could look. I'm being good.
Don't spoil it for yourself.
You know what? I'm not. Because I don't get surprises very often. So I like being surprised. Nice. And the fact that he's putting the effort into it. Yeah. Natty says it's higher consciousness.
She always bugs me because I love purple and everything is always purple, 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 purple.
What's wrong with that? If purple works for you, purple works for you. Look at Stitch. She wears a purple shirt every day.
I know.
Huh? Purple's a good color. It's royalty. It's regal. We're fancy-ass bitches. Didn't you know that?
Oh my god.
I love diving into color and into theory and things like that. Because I find it very fascinating how we see color as well. Because, like, for example, I have the extra cone that allows me to see that extra, like, I don't know how much it adds to the range, but it's significant. I can tell, like, more subtleties and hues because I have that extra cone. But, like, if I remember correctly, blue was the newest color our eye evolved to see. And that's why a lot of really old paintings have, like, gray skies, and, like, a lot of books and literature talk about the seas being gray and the skies, and because we couldn't perceive blue. And it wasn't until our cone developed to see that did we realize.
And what about even making blue? Because I know when you go to, like, dye fabrics and things, it's very hard to dye blue.
It really is.
There's limited things in nature to dye with blue.
There really isn't much of anything, right? Well, and look at blue eye color, right? That was one of the latest mutations, blue eyes and blonde hair, that from the last ice age we had, right? I always find it funny. And even, like, the masculine and feminine, and how today that we, associate it with blue and pink. But it was the opposite at the turn of the last century, where boys were in pink. They were in reds and pinks because red was that power color and girls were in blue. So it's all relative, right? Lapis lazuli was, I'm saying that wrong, was used to make paint and blue eye makeup. Wow. It's the blue in the portrait girl with the pearl earring. Oh, that makes sense. Well, and you have Blue Boy too, right?
Yeah. Well, look at that, Pinky and Blue Boy, right?
Right? Well, and even, I know, there's an account that I follow that talks about actual color paint pigments and the history of artists and how it was created and things. I think I just posted one today on my stories. Sorry. But, some of the paintings you see in museums where the skies are gray, they weren't gray when they were first painted. They were blue. Blue was such an expensive color to produce that they used a cheaper metal to get a flashy blue, but it faded over time. It would only last like 25, 50 years, and then it faded out. Yeah. Color means so much to all of us. It's like underlying in every day. And, you know, people don't really even stop to think about it, right? They just take it for what it is.
Take it for granted. I mean, imagine if you lost your eyesight.
I mean, that's definitely something you and my daughter have in common. I don't know if you want to talk about it. Because I wonder, has that always been something you've had to deal with?
You know, funny you should ask is because often neurologists will ask, you know, how long have you had this? And I'm like, as long as I can remember. I've never seen clearly for as long as I remember.
That really is mind-boggling, to be honest. Because, like, when people ask for Lainey and I show them, like, you can Google it, and what we're talking about, guys, is snow syndrome, right? Optical snow syndrome. And my daughter was diagnosed with it this year. And when we show people, like, how she sees now, and it hasn't gone away, they just, it's boggling to think that's, and she still functions just fine. She can still read, she can still do everything. It doesn't seem to hinder her. So, like, it just makes me wonder how different the world appears like for you, and if maybe that's why color plays such a huge part, because, like, those rich saturated colors are the ones that are most vibrant to you.
Well, and I think it also, because there's sort of that constant interference when you're looking at things, is with the darker, more saturated colors, you see borders better. They don't just blend, where when you have those muted neutral colors or pastels, they all just kind of blend, and there really is no sort of shape, or it's more difficult to see patterns.
The human mind and just everything is just so fascinating on how far we have come in, like, medical research and our understanding of things, but how much farther we still have to go, right? And how we're still unlocking and learning everything as we go. How's your drink? You getting low? You need another one?
No, I'm doing good. You probably should have another one soon.
Pretty soon. Not quite yet. I'm not going to make Osh go up the stairs quite yet. I'm going to wait for him to finish this third bottle, and then we'll see how he's doing, right?
So good.
So, what is in your future?
The lottery.
Yes, please. Yes, please. I could get down with that future. Talk about,
Yeah.
like, bringing in abundance, right? What are you working on right now?
All the things, all the things. Right now, I'm sort of mapping out my thoughts because I have so many ideas and just sort of mapping out what I want to do when, what I want to put where. I've like so many ideas for blogs and newsletters and all of that stuff. But like you said in the beginning, right? You when you have a small business, you're everything. And so you kind of have to really plan and manage and schedule accordingly,
Yeah.
right? So that you're doing all the things and you don't get lost doing something that you really don't like doing because it's taking you forever because you want to be creative and you want to make quilts
Or you
and
have
other
that
quilted
spur of the
items.
moment idea, and then you go down the rabbit hole and 4 hours have passed and you haven't actually gotten the thing that you wanted to get done today.
Mhm. Exactly. Exactly. So, yeah. Yeah. I want to build something so that way um I don't have to get up and dread going to work every day. There is something better than working as hard as I do for someone else. I am more than happy to work as hard as I do for myself.
And that's the thing, right? And that's kind of one of the things that I keep explaining to people who will listen, right? Because I ramble a lot. But the fact that we're creating businesses to run, not jobs for ourselves, right? Because I know some people, not just in this industry, but in general, there's a level of, like, control freak. And, like, I don't trust anyone else to do it myself. I gotta do it all, da 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 da. And, like, for me, it's like, I can't wait till that point where I can hire somebody. Like, 5 years from now, man, I would love to have, like, 10 employees to be able to just manage all the things. Like, that would be the
Exactly.
dream.
Hmm.
Natty wants
Agreed.
to know if you could tell us a little bit more about your newsletter. And she also asks, do you get the healing from the sacred geometry as you work with the design? She's got all the questions tonight.
I know. Can you
I'm so
disconnect
stoked.
her or something?
I mean, I could turn it into sub only mode, and then she'll be screwed. She wouldn't be able to talk anymore. It'd be only the people with subs, and, like, I think there's only one person in the channel then. So Shemi would be, like, carrying the conversation, and we know he's 3 bottles in. He'd be worthless.
Or it could be pretty interesting.
It could be, but he's probably playing a video game and going, "Fuck this shit, I'm out." But that
You're
is
on
a
your
good,
own.
yeah, that is a good question though. Like, do
Yeah.
you receive the healing? Do you intend to receive the healing as well, or is it one of those things when you make a quilt for somebody and you include your sacred geometry? Is the intention for the healing to stay in the quilt and go to the gifter or the giftee?
Absolutely. Absolutely. The thing is though is when I'm I guess it's sort of a two sort of piece process. So when I'm actually making the quilt, putting it together, picking the colors, all of those things, it's almost a process of alignment for me, and really keeping that person in mind that I'm making that quilt for, and really calling in their energy and what healing they need and what we can accomplish together. And then what happens is when I long arm quilt it, I have to make sure that, you know what, I'm calling in that right energy again. So whether, it's for comfort, if maybe they've lost someone, or if it's for their own healing journey, then, calling in those different energies. And I use my crystals for that. And, I'll clear spaces, clear my own energy, because every quilt has a story. And that is what I really take to heart in making the quilt, but then also quilting the quilt, which is why I like to do the whole entire process, is so that I can tell that story from start to finish.
So here's a tough devil's advocate, Pandora's box sort of question then. Calling kind of back to the topic we just had about us creating businesses and hiring people and things like that. How do you feel that that might shift when you get to the point that you are so successful that you have to have an employee doing that in your place? Does that kind of take away the point for you of doing all this? Or do you have like an idea that, well, if I'm going to hire somebody, they need to also be a firm believer in sacred geometry? That way it's also doing that.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, when you actually think about fabric, and I was going to mention this earlier when we were talking about batiks, is it drives me crazy nowadays where our fabric frays so much. You cut it with a sharp rotary cutter, and as soon as you
Instantly.
touch the fabric, it's spraying. All the edges are just falling
And it
apart. And it's
keeps
like
just getting
fabric
more and
never
more
used to do that.
expensive.
Yeah, and it never used to do that. So it drives me crazy. Now I lost my train of thought.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. No, but I think you know, everything has energy. And so when you think of the fabric, you have to think about, okay, right from square one of how was the cotton harvested? What energy was put into that? What was that worker thinking at that time? You know, and then how was the fabric even made? How was it dyed? What was the design? Who designed it? You know, and then it was printed, it was packaged, it was transported. It's
Mm-hmm.
picking up all of this energy in its travels. So even when I bring fabric into my quilting space, it gets staged to
Have you
take
thought
away
about making your
everybody's
own
energy.
fabric? Like doing your own dye lots and things like that?
I have, um, I have, I
Because
would
then
love
that allows
to
you to
even
do a
grow
lot
my
more.
flowers.
Yeah, to
Hmm.
grow. I know I've seen Shannon Brinkley.
Hmm.
She's another who prescribes to our energies and that kind of stuff. She is right now growing her own flowers and everything, and she's doing her own
Hmm.
dyes and making her own fabric for her creations. And so
Yeah.
she's infusing energy into every step of her process.
Hmm. Hmm. Then you have the ultimate control. I mean, then you even know what your dyes are made out of.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of these fabrics, like you look at some of these new ones that have um, the what's it called? My brain is
The digital
broken.
prints?
Yes, the digital prints. I mean, those are again a long armer's nightmare. There's it, like as soon as that needle goes in there, it starts chipping off the
Right?
color.
It
So
just
it's not even
immediately.
dyed. Yeah, it's just on the surface, just like
And it's just this
you know
white
when you
little scar on it now. And it's just, for the
mhm,
amount you pay, like, I get, oh, it's
mhm.
great that printing on fabric allows you to have more accessibility to creating your own designs and, more colors, all this other stuff. But, like, it takes away so much of the quality.
Yeah. And I mean, the lengths that long armors have to go to try and battle that, you know, they talk about the kinds of threads that you're using so that it's not pulling through and tearing the digital print. They talk about, you know, ballpoint needles, and it's unfortunate that we've gone so far to create such crisp and perfect images that now require us to really modify techniques in order to actually quilt successfully with them.
Yeah. Honestly,
I,
for me, because a lot of those are just panels. And I get the appeal for a lot of people. Like, Whiskey does amazing things with her panels. Like, but she's not just like slapping a panel in the middle and putting
no.
a border on it. She's cutting it and interpreting it in a geometric pattern in her own organic way, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I know a lot of people, you see that flower one. I think it's like a lotus or something, all over the place in different colorways, and people love to quilt and do their florals and feathers and all that, and that's great. But like, I'd rather paint with my fabric than buy a panel that's already painted. And it's a very hard thing to kind of deal with, because like, I'm talking with Joe about transforming one of my designs into a panel, right? But in that same way, it's her artistic vision of my design, right? So it's still art, but it's just different.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it's one of those things like English paper piecing. Everybody was so excited for Susan's method of machine English paper piecing, so it was more accessible to them, right? And that's one of the things I have to keep reminding myself, that panels make it more accessible for people who don't have the time, or maybe they don't have the ability to, you know, stand and cut these really minute little pieces, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think there's enough room in the fabric industry for everything, right?
Absolutely. I mean, when you look at the demographic of quilting, you have, even kids starting to quilt. They have the kids
Have you seen
quilt
Max?
challenges.
Have you seen Max on Instagram? Holy
No.
fuck. I forget what his full Instagram handle. If you go to Eliso's page, I think they have a story or a post about him. But he's this 7-year-old in New York City, and he's this couture prodigy. He's like creating rainbow dresses and beautiful billowy, and it's taking everyone by storm. And just the imagination, and I just love that people are embracing him and all of his uniqueness, and just like embracing him and lifting him up, right? Because I think it's a great example for everybody.
Mm-hmm. And then you have the 94-year-old grandma who's quilting still, who will only use traditional methods and will use, old pieces of clothing and,
Doing
will
their
hand
Dear
stitch
Jane by
everything.
hand and figuring it out themselves. And
Yep. Yep. Not being wasteful because, back in the day during the war, you didn't throw anything out. You reused absolutely
that was
everything.
my great grandma. She grew up during the Depression.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you
Yep.
saved
So
every container and Cool Whip container and
yeah, exactly. So yeah, quilting has to appeal to a very large demographic,
yeah.
with such varying techniques that, there's something for everybody. So
Yeah. And I think that's the beauty. And, honestly, quilting, I never get tired of it.
no, no, there's always something new, something different,
Different
different
style,
fabric,
new
different
technique.
technique. Yeah,
Nandy
yeah.
points out we seem to be coming back into wanting more sustainable products. And I don't disagree.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you look at our dumps right now, and plastic used to be our number one landfill, and now it's clothing. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's one of the things that, if anything, we should have a better handle on that. Right? Especially for the cost. Everything costs so much. It's just
Mm-hmm.
ridiculous.
Well, there's a lady in Canada. She's a sustainable quilter, she calls herself. And I'm pretty sure she was at market this year. And, she made a big sort of statement by entering a sustainable quilt into Quilt Canada last year in Halifax. And it was the first one that anyone has ever entered. And it got some mixed reviews. You've got your traditional people who were like, you've got to pay the $25, a yard for fabric, and you shouldn't be using other things. And so it's going to take time, I think, for people to move towards being more sustainable.
It's one of those funny things because there's such a distinct, and I hate saying it, but like there's a distinct division between quilting and, our quilt shows and what we do and what we consider like high quality art and things like that, and then fiber sculptors and fiber artists that don't want to be associated with a craft, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like that person's quilt with the sustain, that is like bridging the gap between the two.
Mm-hmm.
And there's that pushback, right? People don't like it when you cross the waves, right? Don't cross the beams.
Yep.
I know. I've been watching this one company, Inotech, I think is what they're called, but they are all about sustainable fabric making, and it's this weave kind of thing. They do everything from upholster to quilting fabrics, and it started up as just like this one guy, just with a vision and wanting more sustainability and that kind of thing, and he's growing into this big business, and I'm really happy for him. Really nice guy. He's been a part of the Craft Industry Alliance the past year, and so
cool.
Yeah, it's been interesting kind of getting to know him and his story a little bit.
Yep, that's cool.
What you thinking?
Nothing.
I don't believe that for a second.
No, I was just thinking about the earth, and you know, and the whole sustainability piece, because it's so much more than just um, reusing fabric, and fabric made from recycled materials, even, and things like that. It's even transporting the material across the country, and the fuel that it takes to do that, and um, supporting local businesses as opposed to buying online, and like it's so multifaceted that it
Well, and
is.
even that's a complicated subject too, because depending on where you're buying online, I mean, you buy from Amazon, you're just buying from another Walmart. But there are plenty of small businesses who are online now. So it's nice to be able to have that option. Because, there's plenty of times, especially when I lived in Pennsylvania, nobody carried any of the kind of fabrics that I liked. Right? It was too conservative, too traditional. It was all that kind of stuff. So being able to go online to those other small businesses, other mom and pop shops that are different places in the country, and to be able to order, that feels good too. But I get what you're saying, because like even that, then they have to ship it, and the gas that it takes to get it to the post, and the post that ships it to the airport, and the airport with the gas and shipping that to the next post office, and yeah.
Yep. And our poor Earth is just crying when we have,
It's choking. Are
volcanoes.
you kidding me?
Exactly. Volcanoes erupting in places that they haven't erupted in how long. We have mass flooding, and
to be fair, in Iceland's an 800-year cycle. So this is more of like Mother Earth actually doing what it's not been routinely doing for eons, right? This is just part of its cycle. So I know it sucks for a lot of people who live in Iceland, but how often have we been like, well, we're overdue for this one big thing, like this big earthquake in California or this big thing here, and like it becomes a ticking time bomb because Earth's cycle is not in line with itself, right? So at least like for me anyway, as much as like Iceland having the volcanoes and erupting sucks for the people who live there and they're watching their homes and their villages being destroyed, knowing that that's like an 800-year cycle that just is supposed to repeat, and that it actually is happening in the way that it's supposed to. Because you got places like Oklahoma that have earthquakes now because they frack. And they're disrupting the natural balance of Earth. Right? Like, that to me is more, like, stressing. And Ohio getting earthquakes because they're fracking. And that kind of thing. Like, my daughter is doing a written piece on efficient cities. And she told me she was going to do Tokyo. I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I'm like, are you going to talk about the Fukushima power plant incident? And she's like, what's that? And so I'm telling her about it. Because, like, I was supposed to go to Japan that year with my college. And then that whole earthquake, tsunami, Fukushima power plant and everything happened. And, like, plans changed. Right? But that's kind of like the cost of an efficient city, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know we're getting heavy here. We're like diverting so far from the quilting.
Oh, I'm gonna plug in my computer because I get pixelated every once in a while.
I've been seeing that, but to be fair, like, you have been so much more crisp than a lot of people who've been on the stream. So.
Oh, that's me. Crisp.
Nadi asks, what do you do to cleanse the fabrics when they get to you? That's a lot of energies to go through. You do a sage ritual, right?
Sage, I have my singing bowls. Yeah, you name it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Spray my essential oils. The only thing I probably don't do is I don't sing. I don't sing.
Why?
I don't chant.
Singing is like the best thing for my soul. I love to sing. I'm terrible at
Really?
it, but I love to sing. Yeah.
Sing us a few bars.
No, fuck you.
Oh, Shammy, she needs another drink.
I am getting a little low. No, I'm not singing. I used to be...
She needs a double shot of rum.
Oh, fuck that. He makes it so strong. I'm so... No. No, I still sing a lot. But now she doesn't like it when I make them. That's true. But I'm so far in, I probably wouldn't notice when you make it this strong. Hey, ladies, rum time. Yeah, Memory. Hey. Chris is in the chat. Yeah, no, but I was in choir all since, like, 3rd grade. I was in the church choir. My mom was one of the church choir kind of people. So I was in the church choir. And then choir all through middle school. I sang at Carnegie Hall in middle school. And
wow.
Then I was in show choir in high school. Yeah. So. Yeah. Now when I sing in the car and Xander doesn't like it, he says, "No, mommy, no sing." I'm like, shit. So.
Just throw on some music he likes.
Yeah, but that's when he really doesn't want me to sing. Because he wants to listen to his music. He loves his music. Both of my kids love music. But Xander doesn't want me to ruin his music. Whereas Lainey loves it when I sing along. Because that's like bonding time, right? I get to take her to the instrument store this weekend. She wants to do band this coming middle school. So.
What instrument?
I don't know. I was kind of leaning on, like, kind of kicking her down towards the clarinet. Because that's, what my mom played and my sister played and, so that kind of thing. But, my mom's told her, you go pick anything you want and I'll get... It's like, okay, Mom, you say you're gonna, get whatever she wants, but, like, you're gonna say that and we're gonna end up buying it anyway. Like, I know that. But, whatever... She's shown me that... She's only 11, but she's shown me a lot of maturity this year, and, what's the word I'm looking for? Dedication? Because I think I was telling you, we're doing Duolingo as a family. Yeah. And, she started doing it when she got back from Christmas, and I already had a month on her, right, from doing it every day. She does it every single day, and she's already ahead of me in the lessons. Like, she's smoking me. And she does it every day. So, it's like, alright, you're showing me that you're being responsible with your phone, and you're showing me you're going to be dedicated with your Spanish lessons that you don't even really have to do. Okay, yeah, you can do an instrument. I have faith that you're going to practice this expensive instrument.
Mm-hmm.
Oh gosh, I gotta keep up with chat. They're getting feisty. Okay. All right. Let me see. How cool. I grew up playing the flute. Naughty thinks flute is cool. Oshemi did trumpet in school and bass guitar. Yes, we know you're an emo, heavy metal guy.
Naughty is a violinist.
No, Oshemi. Oshemi did
No.
guitar. Oh,
no,
Naughty is
Naughty?
a violinist. Oh.
Yeah.
Ah. So she's not even sharing that much, huh?
No.
But Naughty came in again to save this interview. She is holding this interview. Like, I should just, like, be right back and, like, put Naughty's chat here so she can just ask you the questions. And, like, I'm just gonna peace out over here. Now, she asked, how did your path to, I'm not drunk. I really am not drunk. How did your path get to sacred geometry? That's such a unique area. Sis, I love you. That's what Natty says.
Love you too. Sacred geometry. Honestly, it all started with photography.
Really?
And I love photography. And I love macro photography.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
And I love looking up close at things because when you have sort of that distance look at something, all the shapes blend together to make up the object.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you start really getting into the macro photography, you can really start to see what shapes come in to build that object. And so I have very good spatial awareness. So usually if I look at something, I can kind of figure out how it was all put together. And so shapes are very, they're very comfortable for me. And so I really just wanted to know why I was drawn to certain shapes, especially like triangles, and really started to investigate their meaning, or even why don't I like certain
shapes?
Yeah. So I really sort of just kind of dove in to look and see, okay, what do these mean? Why do I like them? Why is this something that brings different emotions into things? Like even symmetry versus asymmetry, like what kind of energy do you feel when that happens? Some people feel utter chaos when they look at our quilt. It's very unsettling to them and just way too much for them to process, where other people are like, wow, this is so cool, there's so much going on. Exactly. And it was funny because Adele, we had sort of collaborated on some ideas for how to quilt the quilt.
Ooh.
And I gave her sort of an idea, and she did not see what I was seeing. So I got my husband to put it into Photoshop, and I'm like, okay, draw this here, draw this there, draw this here, draw this there. And I sent her a picture of it, and she's like, I never would have saw that. Never would have saw that ever. And so,
So are you going to end up doing that particular thing that you suggested to Adele since she didn't see it, or?
No, I'm doing something different.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see how you're gonna do it.
I don't think everyone will like what I'm going to do to the quilt, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Because it really, this quilt really does tell a story for me, and that's what I want to quilt into it, is the story, and it's not going to be what everyone probably thinks would be the appropriate design for the block to be quilted. But to me, that's not what this quilt is about. So
I love that. I love that you're taking that approach to it. So there are two questions. Natty has one in the channel that I will get to in just a second. The other one, the one I have is, when you were kind of analyzing with your photography about the shapes and like why certain ones draw, and you were getting curious and wanting to go look into it, were you I guess the better question would be, like, how long have you been one with energies and that kind of thing? Like, has that been, like, a long time in your life? Or is that something that kind of came around from the photography when you started looking into the sacred shapes?
No, ever since I was little, I used to see ghosts or dream about people who would be passing away, and um, just very aware of other people's energy, and
Mm.
just really having that connection, even with the earth, with the moon, with the stars, with all of those sorts of things. And when I was little, I was told to not talk about that. Don't talk about that. And I actually have a great grandma who is very clairvoyant and who used to actually tell her grandchildren sort of their futures and things. And so on my one side of the family, it's very much that way. And it's funny because my dad's cousin, I asked her a little bit because she's a genealogist, and so she sort of tracked the family way, way back. And there's many women who are very clairvoyant on that side of the family. And so, no, I've always been that way. Suppressed it for a very long time when I was told that that wasn't something that I should be talking about or thinking about or doing anything
Because there's a
about.
big
Um,
stigma to it, yeah.
exactly, right? Everybody thinks you're kind of crazy. But then as I started to really question who I was, try to find, more about who I am, then I opened that door. I opened that channel again. And yeah, really sort of have embracing that more and more.
Does that have... I would imagine that that would feel very good to reconnect to a part of yourself that you had to originally suppress.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's getting back to soul level, right? Which is part of why I called my business Soul Bloom Quilted Designs, because we have a purpose here on earth. And when we're born, we're automatically taken off course with beliefs of our parents, the way they want to raise us, experiences that they give to us. And so I feel it's our responsibility to get back on course, get back to why we're here. What was our purpose? Why did we choose to come here at this point in time in this earth?
Right.
And so it's getting to know yourself, getting back to that soul level to figure out, who am I? Why am I here? What is my purpose?
And I think that's a underlying question we all ask, at least multiple times in our lives, right? Because that...
Hmm.
I was I watch a lot of Twitch, and I have a couple people that I like to watch. And if you like watching me, hit the follow button.
That was a shameless one.
that was a shameless. I couldn't help it. It was sitting there like a freaking cherry that needed to be picked. But they had a very interesting, because they were playing a simulator, because simulators are really big right now, like power wash sim, lawn mowing sim, all... it's like the dad chore simulating time, right? And he was playing this new one that was like running a cash register and running a little market, right? And you were ordering groceries, you'd grab them out of the box and you put them on the shelf, and then you'd go check people out, right? There's one that's gas station simulator that's huge. And somebody was like, you play a lot of these. Why are you playing chore sim? Right? Why are you so attracted to this? Why? And you could ask that about anybody. Like, why are so many people attracted to these simulators that are basically doing chores? And he had a really interesting perspective of, we do this. Look around the store. It's me. There's no boss here. There's no one to tell me that I'm doing it wrong. I do it in my own way, in my own time, you know? If I want to sit here and talk with you, chat, it's like me standing and talking with my buddy that I'm working with, right? But if I have a boss, they're gonna nag at me that I'm doing it wrong, right? I'm not doing it their way. I'm not doing it... We as human beings want to feel productive. We want to work. because it gives us a sense of fulfillment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whatever that work is that we're drawn to, we want to do it because we want to feel satisfied. We want to feel like we're being productive and contributing to society and all those fundamental things that us as a societal entity want to feel, right? But a lot of us don't get that because we go to work and we hate our lives because there's so much micromanagement and so much shit getting poured down on you. You don't get that satisfaction. So then you come home and you spend a couple hours power wash simming, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I found that really fascinating, and like it really struck a chord. Cause like I do like feeling productive, and like I used to work in a deli, right? And I used to do a cash register, and I actually really liked working in a deli. I really liked working with the customers, and how often they would be so happy that I got what they wanted, right? Or I went that extra mile with the customer service, or I cooked something special for them that, you know, we were out of, or whatever, right? I enjoyed that interaction. I enjoyed and got fulfillment from it. But as soon as management gets involved, it all goes down the fucking pot. Right?
Because for them, it's the almighty dollar, right? It isn't about everything else.
Well, and somebody's always breathing down somebody else's neck, right? So your middle manager has a manager above them that's breathing down their neck, that has somebody else breathing down their neck, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing that, you know, when we're working for ourselves in this type of business is the only person that's breathing down our own neck is ourselves, right?
Which can be equally as challenging.
Well, and you can sometimes struggle to feel satisfied sometimes, or some sort of fulfillment sometimes, because I'm not necessarily interacting with somebody on a daily basis like I was in the deli, right? I don't have that instant gratification of working with somebody or doing something for somebody. Instead, I'm behind a computer, or I'm behind a sewing machine, or I'm doing... And, like, I love doing this. As much as it takes time for me, I get to talk with chat. And I get people to enjoy and connect on that level. So there's a level of satisfaction. Words are hard. And I'm almost out. I almost need an Oshemi refill.
Yep. Oshemi, where are you?
I'm reading chat. I have been looking for a purpose for a long time, and I question my choices every day, but I wouldn't change the journey for anything. That's what Shikamaru says. Shikamaru's kind of been going through his own trials and tribulations. He's our roommate, and someone giving me a long arm? Nobody's giving you a long arm, Oshemi. You can call... What we're calling you for, my love, is for another drink. I would love another drink, my darling. But Shikamaru has a underlying health issue that is stress related. So he's having a very hard time. Oh, you actually came out here?
It's gonna be half rum.
I'm happy with half rum. I'm sure Lorie would be happy if I had half rum.
Nice.
He was very disgruntled.
He already brought you a made drink?
No, he grabbed my drink to take it up. But, you know, so he's having a hard time keeping jobs, and with unemployment being so low, he's having a hard time finding his path, right? And I've kind of suggested a couple times now that maybe looking into education and doing something with that, because he loves that customer service aspect, and he's really great with computers and programming. So if he actually sat down and did it, but it's one of those things that, you know, I can say, hey, this might be a really good fit for you, but if he's not ready for it, he's not ready for it, right? It's just one of those things where I'm gonna, like, keep putting it out there as an option, because all you ever want is the people in your lives to be happy and healthy. At least for me. Like, I just want people to be happy and healthy. You know?
And fulfilled. Having that sense of belonging and fulfillment, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting all teary-eyed. How that long arm fit in your place? Are you talking for Oshemi or are you talking for Lorie, Naughty? God, Oshemi is really. You sent us those messages just as we were like laying. So Lorie knows how itchy Oshemi is to get a long arm machine. And so she sent me a DM last night with a couple Facebook listings of gently used long arm machines. One being really close. And just like we just were laying there and I was reading off all the descriptions and everything, he's like, God, that'd be really nice. That would be really nice. And then maybe eventually in a couple of years I could quit my day job. But we don't have the money for that right now. I'm like, I know. It's okay. We'll get there. But it was very cute.
Well, watch AP. I know you don't want an APQS, but APQS is now doing a draw at least 2 or 3 times a year for a brand new long arm. And you can enter daily for as many times as you want.
You slipped? Like you slipped down the stairs slip? Or you slipped the crack and... Oh, Lord.
It might have gotten a slosh.
It got a slosh?
It was all at the end after the whole can was put in.
Okay. And you stirred it?
Yes, I stirred it.
Okay.
Give it a good stir.
You gave it a good stir? I'm scared to drink this. I am not sloshed. I am tipsy.
You're gonna be sloshed.
I am gonna be sloshed. My face is already very red. I can see it in the camera. I blame
It's all
Lorie.
good. You know what? Nadine usually does too, so it's all good.
This is really good. I made sure to buy vanilla Coke. So, that's my favorite to pair with Kraken. Because you have that little bit of vanilla sweetness to pair with the strength of a Kraken.
Mm-hmm.
I'll help you both up the stairs later. Listen, I know Oshemi and I are old, but we are not like nursing home level old. Okay, thank you very much. These young whippersnappers. He's like only 24. It's like fucking ridiculous.
Well, at least you got somebody to help you up the stairs. You don't have to like sleep on your sewing machine.
That's true. You're 25. Okay, listen. I can barely remember words. I'm not gonna remember your age. To be fair, if I'm really that slush, there's a pull-out couch in Oshemi's office, and I'll just crash there. I'll have to make him move the weightlifting bench, but there are ways around it.
There's options.
There are options. So, when did you decide to get into long arming? Like, was that always something that you were really interested in when you were quilting, or that was something that kind of found you?
Honestly, I quilted a few quilts for my nieces, and I did one of my own on a domestic machine, and I constantly fought with it, and it really took away from the process of quilting because it was so frustrating.
Yeah.
And so when I think it was in January, there was a quilt shop close by that rented time on long arms, and so you had to take their course, which was a few hours, and they taught you how to use it. And so I did that for about 3 or 4 years, and I said to myself, you know what, I really want to see, is this something I'm committed to, or is this something more like scrapbooking and everything else where I'll like it for a little while and then I'll move on, because it's an investment, right? And so I said, you know what, if I'm going to do this consistently for, a couple years, then that's a really good indication that I'm willing to, put more effort into it.
Right.
And so I took the course, and I was doing at least a few quilts a month. And, it gets expensive when you have to spend $20 an hour to rent time on a machine.
Yeah.
And APQS had sort of a road show, and they were showing all their new machines, and I'm like, wow, that's an investment. And then
Mm-hmm.
they happen to have, this is funny. So you talk about serendipity.
Mm-hmm.
They had, I was looking at their machines, they had a sale, and I was watching, and the used ones always are a significant discount.
Mm-hmm.
And a listing came up, and I'm like, oh, wow, I would like this one. And then I'm like, okay, let me just sit with that for a while, and it would sell. And then I'm like, okay, well, not that one. And I didn't intend to get the machine that I did because it's big, and I don't have a big quilting room at
No.
all. And so I thought, okay, this would be a good size. And I'm like, no. So then asked for a little guidance from my guides, and
Mm-hmm.
and said, which machine is right for me. They told me it was this one, and I'm like, okay. So called them up, and there was only one left, and they're like, yeah, no, it's yours. No problem. I'm like, okay. So bought it, had quilted for a couple years on it, and then I went to get some parts for it just for regular maintenance and whatnot. And the rep that I had talked to, she had, I just kind of planted the seed and said, do you ever have anybody sell the computerized part of it? Because mine wasn't computerized when I first bought it.
Right.
And she said, no, not usually. And I said, oh, okay. Well, if you hear of something, let me know. And so she had another customer who was selling her long arm with a computer, exact same model as mine, exact same year, but it was computerized.
Wow.
And that was about 3 months earlier. I had said to her, let me know. And so she sent me a message and said, I have a machine for you. And I went and met the lady. She had only made 30 quilts on it.
That's
Where
not anything.
No, and the previous year, I think I had done about 100 quilts for charity.
Right.
And I'm like, wow, like the stitch count is minimal. And so I bought it, and then the rep said, I think I have somebody who wants your machine. I'm like, okay. And I posted it, and less than 2 hours after posting it, a lady contacted me and said, I want your machine. No questions asked. She's like, I'll come and get it. And she lived down by Calgary, which is about a 3 hour, three and
Oh,
a half hour
wow.
drive from here. Yeah. And so it all happened just
The universe opened and
serendipitously.
said, you know what? Let's do it.
Mhm. And so planting that seed, which is the whole point of my story, is planting that seed for that long arm, which is why I keep sending you those ads,
Yeah.
not to make you feel bad, but
No, I
putting
know.
it into your energy field
Yeah.
that you never know what's going to come up. There might be an estate sale or
Well, and being open
something
to it,
crazy.
right? Being
Mhm.
open to it, and we really would love, like, I'm manifesting that ANOVA because that would be lovely. But it's one of those things, like being open to whatever the universe thinks is what we need to do. That's so important, right?
Mhm. Mhm. Exactly. Or well, what you have to do is be open to that or something even better.
Yes. Yes, truth.
Because you don't even know what might be even better for you.
Yeah, even our trials and tribulations, they're there for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
So I try and keep that close to my heart when I have rough days like today, and be like, you know what? I'm glad I did this. I'm glad I'm the one taking this path, especially like with what specifically happened today, because like it could have been somebody else in the group who easily could have gotten shafted with this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a reason why I'm walking this path, and I'll just keep myself open to learning, and I think it's a lot of trial of setting my boundaries, right? Because I keep saying that I want to say no more. I need to say no more to these projects and
Mm-hmm.
things. And today was a solid no.
Exactly. There was no other answer.
No. There really wasn't. I mean, I'm sure they want it to be a yes, and I think they're assuming that it's a yes, but it's a hard no.
Mm-hmm.
It's just one of those things where I am such a people pleaser. It's learning how to be more assertive in the moment when these things happen. And not letting others think that it's a yes when they're running you over. And being more like, no, this isn't okay. Like, but it's hard.
Well, and it's a direct attack on your worth.
Yeah, well, and I think that's what bothered me the most and why it made me so upset. It was just insulting.
But on the flip side of that, look at how much you value your worth to be insulted.
That's true. So there's got to be something said about that, right? That, I must think I'm worth something if I have a limit, if I have a boundary, right?
Yeah.
I'm not just a walking mat for everybody. How you faring? Because we've hit that beautiful 2-hour mark and we've gone past it.
Really?
Yep.
That was quick.
Right? It helps when we're drinking and talking.
It does.
Chat, does anybody have any more questions for our wonderful Lorie? I just had Osh build me a whole new drink and stream's over and I'm like, oh, I guess I'm staying up for a little while.
There's always a lounge.
That's true. I've got I have a project right here. I can't show any of you. It's super secret. But I have a lot of sewing to do.
You probably shouldn't be sewing with 2 rums in.
Yeah, I probably shouldn't be hand sewing with 2 rums in.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then it's like, okay, well, what do I do then? I have so much work to do. And I can't be hungover in the morning. I've got way too much to do. I don't know. What's in store for your weekend? What are you planning on doing this weekend?
Long arming our quilt, or at least starting.
You got Chris's block done last night, right?
I did.
I just had this feeling that you were going to get her block done and then her block was going to show up the next day.
Funny you say that.
Oh, no.
I thought that too until I asked my guides about it.
Oh, what did they say?
That no disrespect to the color choices that she chose, but those weren't the right ones for the quilt.
Not for your quilt.
Huh. Yeah. So it was meant to be.
Oh, Natty this is the second time she's asked. So, she says she's loving the sacred geometry. Did you say you had a newsletter? She says.
Well, eventually, yes.
She was asking earlier about it. She's like, yeah, newsletter. You piqued her interest. What do you plan on doing with your newsletter? Are you planning on talking about sacred geometry in your newsletter and that kind of thing?
Yeah, little tidbits. Eventually, I'd like to do maybe some courses and things about it, but definitely drawing people's awareness to sacred geometry and the shapes around them that make up their world, and just being more present in the moment and taking note of what the beauty is made up of.
Yeah. Because even the most organic of things breaks down into geometry.
Exactly. And so in the newsletter, I want to talk about that, but I also want to maybe do some spotlights on the members of the collective as well, and also really focus on the pillars of what I want my business to be about, which I'm still sort of finalizing, but definitely the geometry piece is there. Color, emotions, all of those sorts of things. So
They're really important.
Well, you know what? We brush over them. We get so busy from day to day that we just sort of bypass a lot of that stuff and really don't connect with our environment.
Yeah.
That's why it's important to have a quiet space, a sacred space where you can just be still, clear your mind, or even using it as a creative space for thinking of new ideas and coming up with new patterns and all of those sorts of things. So, yeah.
Well, and I think that's part of the challenge, for me anyway, because my sacred space is now a business space. So the energy's changed, right? This is no longer my...
It doesn't have to be.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be.
You can have a small sacred space there. You can have a small altar.
Different. It's just different because, like, this is not my sacred space anymore, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with this being my business space because with having the kids at the age they are at, I spend more time at my dining room table, and I have made that into a mini sacred space because I make sure I am big into plants and having that around me. I make sure that I have life around me in every view from my seat. So I have my favorite table runner, and I have, I have a system there.
Nice.
Right? It's not the same, and it changes from time to time, right? But what doesn't?
That's okay.
Yeah. You could give a whole talk about, like, sacred spaces and, like, trying to include that in everyone's space.
Yep, that's part of the newsletter ideas.
Well, do you actually have a newsletter that people can go to sign up for? Like, could Natty sign up for your newsletter now?
No, not yet.
Not yet? You'll keep us updated, right? You'll, like, let us know and... Well...
Sure will.
Thank you so much for being on the stream. As you know, because you've been to every single Sprout Quilt Challenge Twitch stream, you know that this is the part where you get to sell out and talk about your stuff. So, where can everybody find you and your work and, just everything that is you?
That space doesn't exist yet. It's coming. But
no, that's not
definitely
true.
Starting an Instagram.
Yeah, there you go. Yep. And you can find her at Soul Bloom Quilted Designs, right? And everything's, like, all Sprout right now. But you have stuff coming soon, right?
Yep. Absolutely.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being here. And everybody who's been sticking around. And I appreciate, Natty, you are the MVP of the night with all your questions. You have saved us so many times. I appreciate you very immensely. Thank you. It's true. It's true.
She's awesome.
Yeah, I'm very excited to get to know her more. So, anyone who is still out there, if you have enjoyed the stream, make sure to hit the follow button. That way you can get notifications when we go live. Because hopefully, you'll come on the stream sometime, and then we can just hang out and have a so day, and we don't have to be 20 questions. We can just be like, hey bitch, what's up? Alright?
Exactly. Deal.
I love it. Alright, my friend. Well, I am going to let you go, and we'll catch you later, yeah? Bye, Lorie.
Sounds good.
Have a good night, dear.
Good night, everybody.
And that was Lorie, guys, of Soul Bloom Quilted Designs. And she is a very good friend of mine. She has made a huge impact in my life, and if you allow it, she'll make an impact in yours too, because she's just a marvelous human being. So, yeah, thank you everybody for coming out, and our next stream will be Monday. We are done now officially. I can't believe it. We are officially done with the Sprout Quilt Challenge interviews. So we will be going back to programming as normal as we can. So Monday, when we have stream, we will be doing our Eevee seasonal king size quilt. That's a big word. I'm gonna have to come up with a better name for that. But yeah, we've got a big project on our plate, and we haven't really had a chance to really work on it. I think we're only on part 3, technically. So we have a lot of drafting to do to catch up on January's and then February's, which I think we can handle it. We probably won't start pulling fabrics until April at least, because I want to try and get the whole quilt drafted before we really kind of dig into fabric pools. So yeah. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for being a part of the stream with your questions and just being awesome. I really super appreciate it, and I am not as drunk as you think I am. I'm only half as drunk as I think I am. I don't know. Anyway, guys, have a great night. Love you all. Quilty Crew, best quilt.